Right, you lot. Welcome back to a video. This time it's going to be a bit different. I went for something. I wanted to do something that is very unique, something I haven't done before on this channel, because I just found it fun. Okay, so I went onto the App Store on my phone and I searched up stories, like anything like Wattpad or anything like that, and I found one called Radish. Now Radish, let me go to my emails because I had to sign up and make a fucking account just to read this shit. This is just a little taster of what Radish is like. Radish. Cozy up with Radish. We've got a pumpkin spicy romance for all of your tastes. Story of the month. Filthy hot escort. This is just a little passage from that story, just to give you a taste of what Radish is about and what the fucking what type of stories you'll find on this platform. So here we go. Give it to me, princess. Let me have it and let yourself have it. You're so sexy and so filthy. I love it. Do you like knowing that even with all the women I've had, not one of them has dripped for me the way you do? Moan for me so greedily, because that's what you are. Greedy. There you go. And then at the bottom here it says the feminine urge to kiss a mean billionaire. So, I know this is a very different type of video, and it might not be very fun for a lot of you guys. It might be quite boring, but I'm gonna do it anyway because I wanted to read some of these fucking stories. And here's one that I found: sleeping with my dad's boss. Let me read the little blurb at the bottom. By Havley McQueen. Jane's life is sort of a mess. She's an aspiring actress living in the shadow of her mum, who died under mysterious circumstances, by the way, who's frustrated at her own prudish nature, but can't seem to do anything about it. So when the role of a lifetime as dominatrix becomes available, Jane decides to go method and do some research. By visiting a BDSM club, there she meets Dominic, an older man with a killer body, cheekbones to die for, in a dominating manner that completely upends her world in the best way possible. The newly sexually liberated Jane is hooked and wants all Dominic all the time. Small problem, she discovers he's her dad's new boss. Bosh! Right then, let's jump in. Okay, right then. Buckle yourselves up, grab some snacks. It's time for some story time with Goldfish. That might be what I call this. It might not just be rude stories, but stories in general. Just gives me something to do, doesn't it? And plus it's fun. I'll put some music in the background so it's not just pure silence. Here we go. When he asked me to take... Well, this is episode 1. It doesn't have a title, by the way. It's just called episode 1. When he asked me to take my top off, I froze. I'm not going to be able to read this with a straight face. I hope you guys are aware of that. My last take had been solid. The primary casting director had even smiled at me. And now this? Let's run the lines again, please. But it would be great if you could slip your top off this time, the casting director repeated his request, licking his lips. He was a lion, and I was a piece of meat. Are you uncomfortable running the scene with your tits out? It was clear what answer he wanted. Is that really necessary? I cast a dubious eye at him as he stroked his goatee. He's got a fucking goatee. What the fuck's this all about then? Just so you know, I don't know what's going to happen in this fucking story. This is first for us all. Ugh, what a sleaze. This was just meant to be a bit. What? That doesn't even make any sense. This was just meant to be a bit part in a network sitcom. A bit part, okay. If I'd been auditioning for Euphoria, I'd get the need for nudity. But this? The other people at the casting table weren't even paying attention. 2 of them were whispering to each other and were giggling. I hoped I wasn't the joke they were laughing about. A third was scrolling aimlessly on his phone. Is nudity something you have a problem with? Mr. Sleazeball leaned back in his director's chair and sized me up where I sat on the casting couch, feeling small as a mouse. This script may call for some. It's still a work in progress, and you never know where the final draft will take you. So it's good to get an audition read that showcases your full assets. His voice hung heavy over the last words as he stared right at my chest. I don't know, I stammered. My agent didn't tell me nudity was an option in this script, I faltered. Babe, it's Hollywood. Nudity is always an option, he sniped. He was already looking disinterested. Well, clearly you're not into it, so never mind. He gave a bored wave of his hand. Do you still want me to read the lines again? I asked. Hopefully. Or hopeful. Sweat broke out on my body. Had I just blown my chance at getting this part? I needed it. None of my last auditions had panned out, and my bank account was nearly drained. Tell you what, love, by the end of this story, it won't be the chance of getting this part that you'll be blowing. It'll be something else completely. Okay. Nah, that's fine. The casting director wasn't even looking at me anymore. He had already turned his attention to the stack of resumes in front of him and was leafing through his headshots of the women still to audition. Thank you for your consideration. I tried to keep the frustration out of my voice as I got up from the casting couch. I was desperate, but not desperate enough to shoot nude. Wow, that's lame. Not yet, Jane, I told myself. As I exited the audition room, I passed a long line of women, all eerily similar in appearance to me. All eager. All willing. Some of them probably willing to take their clothes off in their audition. There was no way I was getting this gig, I realised with a pang, hanging my head. Then I gave myself a shake and threw my shoulders back, reminding myself to keep my chin up. This was just the latest in a long string of disappointments, but nobody said becoming a star would be easy. I wasn't ready to give up yet, but I was starting to wonder if what I'd have to sacrifice to achieve my dreams. Here we go. Moving on to the next part. Oh my god, you are such a Puritan, Jane. Puritan? I don't know if I said that right. What a cunt. My bestie Jonathan laughed when I told him about the failed audition over cocktails later. You're the only girl in this town I know who would refuse to let it all hang out on a casting call. I didn't know what to say, I protested, swirling my drink in my hand. The pink Cosmopolitan was starting to make me feel better. We were sitting at the high bar in the overstuffed cocktail lounge, crammed amidst Hollywood wannabes, just like us. I was getting warm and relaxing as the vodka washed over me. Taking my top off didn't make any sense for the scene. Honey, okay, here we go. Honey, with tits like yours, it always makes sense to take your top off, Jonathan toasted to my, don't know how to say that, it's somewhat French, grinning wickedly. No, but seriously, good for you on sticking to your guns. Nobody else in this town does. He glanced around the room. We were surrounded by a well-heeled crowd of gorgeous women and men. People were here to see and be seen. Right, but what if that's the problem? I asked desperately. Some people would do anything to get their big break. Meanwhile, I'm barely breaking oh my god, I can't, this is why I don't read things, because I can't read. Meanwhile, I'm barely breaking even in my bank account. I drummed my fingertips on the table nervously. I don't know why I'm still even trying. Because you love the game, Jonathan smiled. Your big break is going to come, honey. Not the only thing that's probably going to come by the end of this story, I'll tell you that now. He leaned forward and squeezed my hand reassuringly. Okay. Another stylist that I work with, who has been grinding for years lately, had just landed their first A-list gig. Keep at it. Now, in the meantime, let's get that ugly frown off your pretty face. Let me tell you about this guy I met last night. Okay, here we go. I giggled and leaned in to catch every word as Jonathan told me about his latest wild exploits. His stories were never lacking for detail, but the story's end I had a vivid picture of Jonathan's latest conquest, including the car he drove, the job he had, and his approximate height, weight, and girth. Whoa, I was no virgin, but there was no way I could keep up with Jonathan's sexual adventures. How do you even have the energy for dating when you're also trying to work? I asked after I had to stop laughing at the comical level of detail in his tale. Okay. I need someone to distract me from the rejection, Jonathan replied, only half joking. At least if I can't get hired, I can get laid. Okay, look, I know how it is in this business. I go from one interview to the next, trying to book a styling gig and nothing comes of it. It's tough. Ugh, I need another drink. I drained my Cosmo and looked expectantly to the bartender. He was at the far end of the bar and barely glanced my way. Great, I'm getting rejected by the bartender too, I moaned. You're a sad sack tonight, Jonathan laughed. Okay, this is a fucking things get mad, you know. Look at this. Right. We're off. Sorry, I can't get my mind off of that audition, I shrugged. My residuals for being an extra on Riverdale are not paying the bills. If it weren't for my dad paying my rent, I trailed off, embarrassed to admit that only my father's wallet was allowing me to continue pursuing my dreams. Take that cash from Daddy and make the most of it, honey, Jonathan shrieked. I'm beyond jealous that your dad supports you. I mean, that's why we're here tonight. He gestured around the room so I can find a daddy of my own, a sugar daddy. Whoa, okay, mate. You're too much, I smiled as the bartender finally looked our way and gestured to him to make us 2 more drinks. Tonight, I wanted to get drunk. Or should I say, tonight, I wanted to get absolutely fucking smashed. You're not enough. You could stand to be a little more extra. You have to believe in yourself. There's always something around the corner, Jonathan said slyly. Like this indie movie I've been hearing about. People are already whispering it's gonna be big, but they don't want big stars for it. They want new people on the scene. That's what they all say, and then they always end up booking a star anyway. I couldn't help replying with a sigh. For real this time. They want newbies, Jonathan insisted. Fresh faces like you. If you say so. I eyed the bartender as he rattled our drinks in his shaker. I was eager for the next round. You are beyond cheering up tonight, Jane. Jonathan gave me a pointed look. I'm sorry, I'm trying. The truth was that I wasn't. I wanted to wallow in my bad mood. I wanted to feel sorry for myself. But Jonathan wasn't ready to give up on me yet. Okay. I think you need to take a page out of my book. Let's find you a nice little fling while we're here. Someone to get your mind off of the heinous audition. There are a lot of good-looking guys here, I had to admit as I surveyed the room. It was filled with rich industry people. Maybe Jonathan was on the lookout for a sugar daddy, but I was on the lookout for professional connections. I can't fucking do this. Precisely, that's why we came here. Now go find a guy that you like. I'm gonna go freshen up. When I'm back, I'll tell you about that indie movie for the low price of 1 drink. He flounced off, leaving me giggling. As silly as he was, Jonathan's antics were exactly what I needed. Still, booze could help too. I gave a small sigh of relief as the bartender placed the next round in front of me, a delicate glass tinkling on the black marble-top bar. I picked up my drink and took a sip before swiveling to gaze over the room. Jonathan was right about this place. This cocktail bar was new in town, and the motto was clearly, come dressed to impress. The women looked like models. So did the men. That unfortunately was the problem. The guys here were all too pretty. Everyone was perfectly put together, perfectly shaved, perfectly coiffed. I like my men with more grit. I like my men like that. My eyes rested on the silver-haired gentleman who had just strode up to the bar. He leaned across Jonathan's empty seat to place his order, standing close to me, enough that I could smell him. He wasn't wearing fruity cologne. I didn't think he was wearing cologne at all, just a faint scent of aftershave, similar to what my dad wore. It was simple, classic, and elegant. I turned towards the bar and watched out the corner of my eye as he orders his drink, a martini. Classic. His silver hair was slicked back but slightly messy, and his chin had a hint of stubble. He looked much older than me, in his late 40s, fucking hell, but he was still fit, tall and muscular. This was a man who looked like he worked out. I swiveled my chair to face him and get a better look. This guy's hot, I told myself. My kind of hot. This was a man... Oh shit, here we fucking go. This was a man who... This was a man who looked... Where am I right now? I've lost it. This was a man who looked like he could easily pick me up, throw me onto the bar, bend me over it, and do all kinds of terrible things to me. This was a man who I'd gladly take my top off for. This was a man who was looking right at me. I realized with horror, as I'd been thirsting over him, he turned and caught me staring right at him. Oh shit, this is fucking stupid, this, I tell thee. Sorry, I mumbled. No problem, the silver god. The silver god! Said with a sexy English accent. My mouth opened to say something, but no words came out. The silver god smiled, and slight crinkles appeared at the corner of his eyes. Clearly he was used to being stared at. Have a good night. He picked up his martini from the bar and stepped back just as Jonathan reappeared. And I'm back. Jonathan settled into his chair, so I know I promised to tell you more about that indie movie. But I think we'd better get to more important business. Getting you laid. He grabbed his drink and swiveled his chair around to survey the bar. Who do you like? I don't know. Nobody really. I peered over Jonathan's shoulder at the silver god who had turned his back to us. Silver fucking god. Come on. This place is full of hotties. There must be someone who catches your eye. Jonathan turned back just in time to catch me staring at the silver god. Aha! His eyes lit up. I knew you weren't immune to the allure of this place. I don't know. Don't you think he's kind of old? Like a fine wine, maybe. Plus, old means experience. Jonathan hissed back at me as in a stage whisper. And that's what counts when you want to get properly laid. I bet Silver Daddy behind me could give you just what you need. Don't you want to get... Whoa! Fucking hell! Here we go. Don't you want to get dicked down, turned out, and tied up by that fox? Let's ask him. That's fucking crazy.